It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
All right, SKOR North Twins Show from the headquarters here at Hubbard Broadcasting. Figured I'd hop on here. It's Twins are wrapping things up against the Dodgers in a 3-game series before being off tomorrow. We'll have a full SKOR North Twins Show with Mackie and Judd on Thursday as well, but I couldn't wait. I didn't want to hold all this intel. I didn't want to hold all the information that's out there. I wanted to get it out now. So we have updates on the Twins trade deadline plans, the latest rumors, the latest rumblings happening from MLB insiders and whatnot. So figured I'd hop on here and talk about what's happening there. So if this is stuff you're interested in, if you're looking for more Twins trade deadline plans, if you want to be alerted about any things that happen at the trade deadline, you might want to hit the like button and subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show to help spread the word. And then when the deadline does hit next Thursday, I'll probably hop on here immediately at the deadline time, or if a big trade does happen pre-deadline, just kind of recap and talk about what's happening. So should be a really exciting, fun week, no matter what the Twins decide to do. So if you like Minnesota Twins information, and if you like information from the clubhouse too, the Twins back at home this week and excited to be back covering the Twins at Target Field. So if you have anything you want answered from the clubhouse or from Rocco or anything you'd like to know more about, I'm here for you. Hit me a comment, drop me a tweet at Texas Tweets. This is the SKOR North Twins Show. So let's start here. Let's go, and there's a barrage that we can start with here. Let's go with Alden Gonzalez from ESPN, baseball writer here. He says several high-profile teams are in need of bullpen help ahead of the trade deadline, including the Mets, Yankees, Phillies, and Dodgers. And the Twins had the two best available in Griffin Jax and Jhoan Duran. The sense is at least one of them will be traded, but those who are looking for relief help expect the asking price to be very high, partly because both of them are controllable through 27, and partly because the Twins' uncertain ownership group situation has clouded the approach with those who are not pending free agents. That is becoming a thing, it seems like. I know Ken Rosenthal also kind of doubled down on this too in The Athletic today, saying that with the team for sale, the front office will proceed with perhaps even more caution than it might normally do. So, if the Twins are to trade a Griffin Jax, a Jhoan Duran, a Joe Ryan, this could make things complicated because we don't know the ownership situation quite yet. Rob Manfred claiming a transaction will take place. Lavelli Neal reporting that there is a lead investor that's basically in place too. So maybe we have clarity on this maybe sooner than we initially thought a few weeks ago. But for the Twins trade deadline, it still seems like teams are asking about Jax and Duran. Jeff Passan of ESPN said, with those two arms being available, the Twins' asking price to acquire those are at least two top 100 caliber prospects and aren't inclined to spend a whole lot of time workshopping deals for a top 10 starter this season with 2 more years of club control. He's referencing Joe Ryan there. But Duran and Jax getting 2 top 100 prospects. Yeah, I would think that's the normal asking price. Tanner Scott, reliever last year, went for a similar type of price. The Twins traded a top 10 prospect for Jorge Lopez, which kind of blew up in their face a few years back. This is the Twins traded their top organizational prospect for Matt Capps 15 years ago. So relievers do tend to get a lot, and it seems like the Twins are getting calls on guys like Jax and Duran. So it wouldn't be surprising to me, I guess, if they got the right package, they have to say, I think they'd have to pull the trigger on it. Now they're not going to sell low and just punt them away, but it does certainly feel like teams are calling. And that is the at least sticking point to at least put those conversations in the next step. So Duran and Jax could help teams. Hell, the Dodgers right now, they need plenty of bullpen help. They almost blew it on Monday against the Twins. Twins wrapping things up in LA. We're recording this at like 1 p.m. Central Time on Wednesday before they wrap things up against the Dodgers on Wednesday afternoon, early evening, depending on your time zone situation. But yeah, the Dodgers could use the help. The Yankees could use the help. The Phillies, who have scouted the Twins at Target Field during the last homestand before the All-Star break, they could certainly use some bullpen help. Yeah, they won't do any business with the Tigers, right? Like that seems inevitable. I don't think that'll happen, but the Yankees are in play, and then National League too. Like for whatever reason, baseball still loves to not do in division and like interconference trades for some silly reason sometimes, because they can come back to haunt you. Division more obviously than just being in the same league, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if one of those two dudes ends up going. I will take some comments here too on the YouTube side. If you guys have any questions about the trade deadline, I can answer them here. In fact, I'll just start this one from Tony, who says, Dex, in your opinion, do we trade within the division? And let's not trade with the Yankees no matter what they offer. Yeah, so I guess to kind of answer that as I just did, I don't think they will trade in the division. I don't think Detroit or, Cleveland and Kansas City are in the same spot as the Twins. Like, they're not a hard sell, but they could go either way and still maybe think they can compete for one of the final wild card spots. I think as we get closer to the deadline next week, I think you'll see the Guards, the Royals, and the Twins end up selling the majority. I think all three of those teams should be selling. They're not catching the Tigers in the division, and they're all flawed in their unique way. Kansas City was more of a pop-up last year, and their pitching has been good, but they have some pending guys here that could get them a big return. Build around Bobby Witt again this offseason. Maybe they're back in it. Cleveland, who's always pesky and shouldn't be a surprise to be where they are right now. They always tend to be very much ahead of the curve when it comes time to trade someone. So wouldn't be surprised if they move Class A, got a big package, and whether it's next year or in a couple years, those guys are then helping Cleveland compete for division titles. That's obviously super in play too. So yeah, I certainly wouldn't be surprised if all three of them are selling by that point, but they still think they have a chance. Let's see here in the YouTube comment section. Yeah, keep shooting me questions. Don says the Falvey, as in Falvey, isn't going to do anything significant, and the Twins will be worse off in 2026. So this is the conundrum I think the organization does have to face, regardless of the ownership. If they choose to do nothing, and I guess to Don's question, nothing being like maybe they move Danny Coulomb, but like that's it. They don't trade Duran or Jax or Joe Ryan. They don't trade even like Harrison Bader, who could probably still get you something and help a contending team, or any of the rental players in general. I think that puts you in the same spot you're in now. Like, I'd much rather gear up for 2026, 27 than just run the course here for morale reasons and for basically a false belief that you think you are the better team in the AL Central and you're a sleeping giant waiting to be awoken. And Royce Lewis has been great lately. The players don't think like that, and I don't fault players for thinking like that. That's their competitors, and they're professional athletes. So yes, they believe in the team they have, and I don't think it's outlandish for players to be upset or to think we should just actually run this thing, let it run its course. And then if we have to make things in the offseason, do it. But no, I think they have to make trades here. I think they have to get, and it might not be prospects, right? Like it might be guys that are major league ready, or major league players in general that are just maybe being blocked, or that's what the team would rather have get back instead of taking some lottery tickets in high A, double A. I think a name to keep an eye on in the Dodgers, if they are to sell, brought this up with Patrick Royce today on Royce Unchained. Jackson Ferris, who was a Cubs guy, then he goes to the Dodgers, a huge lefty, like 6'5", tons of strikeout stuff. Got hit around a couple times in double A, but has a ton of swing and miss. They need, I would be targeting pitching. I think that's going to be a theme for tomorrow's big SKOR North Twin Show with Mackey and Judd of what should they be looking for. I think you can't go wrong taking as many shots on pitching prospects. So that is certainly something to keep an eye on there too. Dodgers are always going to be moving their prospects when, they have that opportunity. Mr. What does it say? M. Night Stalker says, I like clearing up log jams. Larnach absolutely comes to mind. So Larnach's a serviceable, really solid player, limited defensively. I don't think Trevor Larnach's like off limits by any means. And again, this might be more of an off-season trade to like clear the runway for other people. But like, yeah, he's a solid bat that would help a team at DH or in one of the corner spots if you had to play him there every day. This is the also thing they have to like recognize, the Twins do, of, look, is Trevor Larnach peaked? Like, is this who he is? Is there another level for him to get to? I think he's a very solid player that would help the majority of teams, but it does clear the way. Like, what happens when Walker Jenkins, comes up here, or Emmanuel Rodriguez if he can ever stay healthy? Matt Wallner, they brought in Harrison Bader this year. So yeah, like getting rid or moving on from Larnach and Wallner's does come with some significant risk, but I certainly wouldn't say that they're not untradeable by any means. Mitch says, you can't trade established pitching for prospects. What are we doing? Trade bats for pitching. You can find bats. And, that's possible too, Mitch. The pitching pipeline, though, that they have, like Marco Raya is still really young and starting to string together some nice consistency at AAA. They don't really have pitchers in the wings that are ready to help them. When they got Joe Ryan 4 years ago, he was basically ready, right? He made like 3 AAA starts and then has been with the Twins ever since. Andrew Morris has been banged up. Corey Lewis is a knuckleballer that isn't close. Connor Prelip is one of their top pitching prospects, but they don't really have, in my opinion, like Prelip is still super raw and young and probably not someone they want to rush up here. Charlie Soto, has he been banged up still? He's in high A though. Yeah, he hasn't played since April. Like, you look at their pitching prospect, like unless Marco Raya, who's 22, and like there's some intrigue there for sure. There's not guys that are ready. And if Festa and Zebby Matthews, who they're banking on right now, kind of bridging from prospect status to established major league pitcher, they're banking on those guys. And by the way, David Festa just went on the injured list. So that causes some issues right now. Travis Adams back with the Twins. I'd rather stockpile some more pitching prospect arms and guys that might be ready to go. So that's where, like, if you're going to trade Jackson Duran, I wouldn't mind doing that. And, if Walker Jenkins and Kalen Culpepper, Culpepper's awesome, man. First round pick. I know I've given Gabriel Gonzalez a lot of love on prospect episodes. Culpepper might actually be the case for the minor league player of the year. He's got a 900 OPS. He's probably going to be in AAA by August at some point. There are some intriguing bats. Keyshaw coming back here soon. He's on the rehab stint. So, like, stockpiles as the best possible athletes and the best possible return you should get, for sure. Like, I don't think that there's a black and white way of looking at this. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying, Mitch. Let's see here. MN Twins 28 says, would a move to dump Ty France be in order? And is a guy like Aaron Sabato ready to move up? Oh, I love this question. Yeah, France has been struggling. He was on a prove it contract, making like chump change, league minimum. I wouldn't be surprised if they DFA and move on from him in the coming weeks, if not by the end of the season. And Aaron Sabato, who, might be more of a quad A guy. He finally figured out minor league pitching, but also he's a lot older than the competition that he was, hitting against in AA. And now at AAA is more maybe in line with some guys of his age. Yeah, like, I wouldn't mind giving Sabato. I don't think Sabato's like ready to be unearthed. And oh my God, he finally figured out minor league pitching and he's hitting a bunch of bombs. And the Twins need to give him a chance. I would like for the Twins to give him a chance. Why not? Because the options right now in front of him, and especially if like you punted the trade deadline, like, yeah, player and Sabato and see what the hell happens. It might be just Chris Parmelee 2.0, but first round pick that you invested in that, like probably was in danger of being out of the organization like a year ago. And now finally figuring things out. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. A couple other things here on the SKOR North Twins Show. Hit the like button, subscribe button. Got almost 100 of you guys just hanging out, watching, getting the latest on the Twins trade deadline plans. This is kind of from almost everyone, it feels like, but John Heyman saying that the Twins are listening to offers for Chris Paddock, who's also a rental, Harrison Bader, and Ty France. They won't get much of anything for France. Bader could get you, maybe fetch you a little bit of something of intrigue. And this is where, again, like, instead of looking for a prospect, do you flip Bader for someone that is major league ready or established and just as a veteran looking for a change of scenery, another clubhouse type of guy, another good fielder? Like, I guess why would you then just trade Harrison Bader if Bader is all those things? But Bader has the mutual option next year for $10.5 million. Yeah, I don't know what he's going to do with that either. Like, does he opt out to seek a better? He's having his best season in like 4 years, defensively and obviously offensively, which has been the big thing there. So they're listening to the rentals. And I wouldn't like Castro too. We haven't brought up his name today. But if they were to trade Castro and Bader, I think those are the two rentals that would cause like the not biggest friction, but would probably make the Twins players like the saddest and the toughest ones for them to move on from because they're such big clubhouse guys. Willie Castro was an all-star last year, and the Twins, the writers voted him as the team MVP. And Rocco absolutely adores him. Super utility player. He's having a really good year. So that'd be good. And Bader's just like this clubhouse vet, and people gravitate towards him. The teammates love him. The Twins have lacked a guy like that in the clubhouse. Like Correa and Buxton are probably more quiet leaders behind the scenes and follow my work ethic and example than rah-rah classic baseball bro, like kind of Harrison Bader personifies. But I think if you were to say goodbye to Bader and Castro, that'd be tough. Like, to all due respect to Danny Coulom's of the world, the Chris Paddocks of the world, Ty France's, like, and France does have some weight in that clubhouse for sure. But those guys wouldn't, I don't think, cause the reaction that would be super, emotional or disappointed. So I think all those guys are in play. You probably take what you can get for one of them. Like another example, like Chris Paddock is just he's been mostly a disappointment, but he's a back end starter that can help a playoff team at least bridge their gap to get to the postseason. Maybe he goes to the bullpen where he did thrive for the Twins in 2023 in a very limited role. But maybe you get another starting pitcher back, right? Like maybe you get a veteran starter back, like the Twins. Like you just swap out bad situation or different situation for a different guy. That certainly could happen. Could happen to you. I'll take a couple more questions here before we wrap things up on the SKOR North Twins Show. Mateo saying, would you listen on trade offers for Correa? Well, he has the full no trade clause, so that makes things obviously very difficult. I think Correa, number one, he's getting his money here. And he re-signed here after 2 failed physicals. So that just makes the trade very, very complicated. But if Correa says, I'm good, I want to get out of here, or I want to go to a contender, then yeah, you have to probably pay down some money, which, again, the ownership thing makes this complicated. It's very unlikely, unless Correa forces his way and forces the hand of saying, please trade me, and we'll figure, and then the front office and Falvey and Jeremy Zell have to figure out how do we pay down some of that contract. Very, very difficult. So with the no trade clause, with the contract, with the uncertainty from ownership, yeah, that's going to be almost impossible to trade him. Let's see here. Don saying Bader will probably get the 20 to 25th pipeline prospect, Coulomb 30 to 40th, Castro 18. Yeah, I would. Coulomb, you're probably pretty close there, Don. Bader, you might, and Castro, you probably could get a guy inside the top 20. Certainly nothing really ahead of a top 15 unless some dude, some team, I should say, just absolutely overpays, which I don't know if that'd be the wisest thing to do. So yeah, I mean, I think looking through the rest of my notes here, it does seem like Griffin Jax and Duran are the teams asking about the most. I did find it interesting, The Athletic today, they ranked the big board of guys. Joe Ryan's the top guy on this list. And they recognize the deal likelihood is low. The fits for Ryan being the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Mets. And yeah, he probably is the top arm available. He's a frontline guy. He's probably going to flirt with getting Cy Young votes this season. He was an all-star. I think it's more, again, of an offseason conversation. If he's not interested in getting an extension with the Twins, then I do think you have to consider trading him. But I think this is probably a conversation for the winter than it is. They'd have to get blown away, man. Like they'd have to get multiple top organizational prospects, things that are ready back in return. It's not like the Juan Soto trade by any means, but he'd probably be the biggest name traded at the deadline, at least names that have been like bandied about, not ones that like would come completely out of nowhere. But he is the number one guy on that list, which I found super interesting from The Athletic. And yeah, I mean, we're 8 days away from the trade deadline, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here. Chase says, at what point do we start to get Keishall some reps at first? He's played some at first base, Chase. I don't know if he fits there. He's a pretty athletic dude too. He's been DHing almost exclusively during the rehab assignments. He has spent time at second and center field. Sorry. So that could happen. I think actually, maybe a more interesting thought here is if Keyshaw comes back, is Brooks Lee on his way out back to St. Paul? He's had a very rough month of July, after a great month of June. And honestly, I really liked the season he was having up until July. I thought there was some signs of life there, and looking like a guy who had really good bat to ball skills, but he's been struggling mightily. He might need a reset in St. Paul. I know Edward Julian has failed now multiple times up here since a great rookie season. He could also be back up here. Yeah, man, there's a lot of things for the Twins to answer over the next 8 days. And I'm excited to see where it happens. And I'm super excited too, to obviously be here covering the Twins. It's going to be a crazy next 8 days. Twins back at home this weekend against the Nationals. I got the Red Sox. I mean, there might be a locker room trade there, right? I don't know. Maybe someone goes from the Twins to the Red Sox. It's happened before. So going to be a really exciting time here on the SKOR North Twins Show. I'll have a show tomorrow too with Mackie and Judge, just kind of talking about what the Twins maybe should be looking for at the deadline tomorrow. So you can be on the lookout for that, plus some extra innings episodes for sure. One on probably Friday and Sunday from Target Field to wrap things up there. But appreciate you guys hanging out with me. My name's Declan Goff. This is the SKOR North Twins Show, and we'll be talking at you soon.